Would you like to be somebody who can manifest their highest potential in life? Then listen to this entire video where I explain how you can facilitate yourself to manifest your greatest potential. Before we start, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. Now, there is a psychoanalytical concept called the collective unconscious, coined by Carl Jung. The collective unconscious is a subset of your psyche, which entails sort of primal instincts that essentially control the majority of your behavior. They direct most of your life, let's say. And Carl Jung had this idea that, well, you may think you are in control of your choices, but really it is something else that you're probably not even conscious of, because it is the unconscious part of your brain. And he sort of explains how there's a part of your unconscious which is your greatest potential. It's like who you are in the future, or who you could be across time in the future, which is your highest potential. And this is sort of the self. It's called the self archetype. And it speaks to you. And it speaks to you in the following way. I'll share an example. Let's say you, you're reading something, and let's say you're studying, and you're studying a topic that's very sort of bland and you consider quite boring, and it's quite difficult to focus for a prolonged period of time on something that is quite boring. You know, if you have to read it, you sort of lose focus. You sort of read it and then you realize, I wasn't focusing for the past paragraph. I don't recall anything I just read. And then there are other times when you read something and you are entirely captivated by it. You cannot let go of whatever you're reading. You are immersed in the text, and your focus is entirely delivered, or just allocated to the text. And you may ask yourself, why is this? How is there some things that I just couldn't give a damn about, and some things that completely captivate me? And what Carl Jung believed was that yourself, your future potential, is rooting for you. It wants you to manifest your highest potential. And it does that, it directs you by directing your attention to the things that will allow you to grow and get closer to your greatest potential, which I find very fascinating. So basically, whatever you're reading that captivated you is because yourself deems this text to be important and of value, because it can help you grow and be a stepping stone to growing into your fullest, highest potential, which I find extremely interesting. And it's quite, I find it fascinating. It's very interesting. And on the same hand, it is also quite, scary to a degree, that it essentially states that you're not in control of how you direct your attention. It is something beyond your conscious mind. It is something else that is in the control panel of your brain, which is quite scary, yes, because you don't really know what kind of tricks it might pull, or how it works, or what it really wants, let's say. So really, the key here is that you can manifest your greatest potential by listening and observing and being conscious of what you find fascinating, what you can easily immerse yourself in, lose track of time, and feel fully engaged, because that is what will enable you, if you continue or absorb the information and continue on that path, that is what will help you transform incrementally into your greatest potential. And I came up with a counter argument to this, which I find is sort of eligible, is that, people change their interests regularly. And does this mean that the change in interests is the self, your highest potential, which is changing the interests? Or is it something else? Because surely your greatest potential is sort of, it's not stagnant. It's not, it's dynamic, but it is still, it's one kind of thing. Like, why would your interests regularly change? It's just, it like doesn't sort of fit in my eyes. And I would say, I think people might change their interests very often, and I'm talking from my own experience, out of other reasons. For example, your ego, because I think if you're very truthful to yourself, then it's easier for yourself, your future potential, to speak to you and to direct you, guide you. Because I think it might be ego that clouds your ability to listen to yourself, or your highest potential to get through and communicate to you. Because you may just find a new interest or look for a new interest out of a new ego boost in order to boost your self-confidence. And yeah, I could speak from my own experience. For example, in my past teenage years, I've wanted to be a fashion designer, I've wanted to be a rapper, I've wanted to be a WWE wrestler, and I know I've reflected on these, and these were strongly ego-based. They were about trying to create an image for other people, to prove people wrong, it was all about how others perceive me, which is ego. And an important thing here is this: I'm talking about ego in terms of the modern definition, or let's say in terms of self-esteem and self-worth, not the Jungian ego, I'm not talking about the Jungian ego, I'm talking about just self-esteem and self-value, self-worth. And it's not obvious, I'm not sure whether the ego could cloud your conscious communication with your greatest potential, the self. I'm not sure if this is, but I think this might be a case, because I reflected. I've changed my interests a lot, and I completely am not interested in like fashion really anymore, or WWE wrestling. So surely my greatest potential would sort of be relatively cohesive and coherent, in that I would still be interested in the things if my interests would change. But I think it means then that it's not the self that was directing my attention there. That was my ego, and it clouded myself. So I think if you become more truthful with yourself, it's easier for your greatest potential to guide you towards manifesting and growing into that highest potential. So in conclusion, your greatest potential directs your attention in life to the things that will help you grow personally and develop yourself into your greatest potential in life. And it's almost like an instinct, and it is beyond your conscious control. And yeah, so that was really it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. And also try to reduce your ego, FYI, if you want to help or enable your greatest potential to communicate to you clearly, let's say. Yeah, that was it. Thank you for listening.